Good afternoon. Who's ready to retire? I expect to see more hands up right now. Okay, just one second. Folks, I want you to know. Thanks for being here today. Welcome. It's our pre-retirement workshop for Santa Barbara County Employees Retirement System. This is an exciting time. Congratulations on deciding to be here. This is a time that comes with a lot of excitement, but also a lot of questions, I'm sure. So we're here today to answer those questions and to empower you with the information you need as you approach retirement. But before we get started, just a couple of things. I want you to know that we are video recording today, okay? But just the speakers, so no audience pans. And once we finish the recording of this video, we're posting it to our website so that you can refer to it in the future. Another thing that I want you to be aware of as well is that as we go through our presentation today, we're not recording Social Security, but their PowerPoint will be available on our website. So please silence your cell phones if you can, and we're going to hold questions till the very end. So, a lot of questions. Here are the biggies. These questions get asked very frequently as people are approaching retirement, and I want to go through some of these for you, just so you can have some peace of mind and be sure that you're preparing. Today we're going to talk about your Santa Barbara County Employees Retirement System benefit and the following things. When am I eligible to retire? How is my SBCER'S benefit calculated? What are the best practices for retirement planning? And what are my payment options? What about medical insurance? Who here is worried about insurance? It's one of the biggest issues for retirees. What happens if I divorce, either before I retire or after? What happens when I die? And how do I start the retirement process? So I'm sorry, we do have to talk about some kind of depressing things, but it's important to do it now than when we're sitting across the table from one another retiring you. Okay, so pretty much everyone in this room is a pre-PEPRA, which is the Pension Reform Act that passed in 2013, member. You've heard the term legacy, or Plan 5, or General 5, or Safety 6. If you were hired before January 1st, 2013, you are a pre-PEPRA employee, and your basic eligibility to retire is age 50, 5 years of service credit, and 10 years of elapsed time since your hire date, and that can include reciprocity. Like if you came to us from a system that is also represented by like CalPERS or another 37 Act county. Or 30 years of service as a general member, or if you're safety, 20 years of service, or for either 70 years of age, regardless of your service credit. Okay, so eligibility for PEPRA retirees, those are folks who are hired after January 1st, 2013, and there actually are some that are ready to retire because it only takes being age 52 and having 5 years of service credit. For safeties, safety folks who are in the PEPRA plans, it's age 50 and 5 years of service credit, or age 70, regardless of your service credit. So I know because you've all emailed me that you're all eligible to retire or getting pretty darn close, so we're able to run you estimates. So this is the hardest part to understand, so let's just get it over with first. This is always complicating for people to understand, and it was very complicated for me to understand how is my retirement benefit calculated. You hear this 2% at 57 and wonder, what does that mean? So let's demystify it a little bit. And in order to do so, let's talk about a couple of the factors in calculating your retirement benefit. The first important factor is your retirement plan formula. So it varies by plan, whether you're general or safety, or if you were a member of Air Pollution Control District, and if you are pre or post PEPRA. Each of those retirement plans has a different formula. Then, your final average salary. Your final average salary is used to calculate your allowance, and it's an average of either the highest 12 months or 36 months, based on which one of your retirement plans you're in. And what will happen is, as we go to calculate your benefit, we're looking across the entirety of your career. A lot of people think it's final, like the last year of employment. If you had a job 10 years ago where you were making a lot more money, the system's going to look back at that time. It's looking for your highest final average salary. Your service years. This is the total amount of your service credit, including any purchases of service. This doesn't necessarily mean the amount of time you've been with an employer, because you might have worked part-time or fractional. You might have missed time because you had like medical leave that you haven't purchased back, which you can, and we'll talk about that. And then the last thing is your age factor. So in your packets, when you open it up on the right-hand side, there's a sheet that's got a little grid with ages. That's the age factor table. What you'll notice is that the age factor, which is a percentage, ticks up for every 3 months of age, every quarter. And we'll get to what that means. So here's how your service retirement is calculated. Your retirement allowance is based on those 4 factors: your formula, your final average salary, your years of service, and your age factor. So that formula is used to come to a monthly benefit. So here's the guts of it. This is what our system does. We look at your final average salary. Let's say your highest final average salary was $5,275. We first multiply that by 2%. This is a general retirees calculation. Here's that 2% at 57 expression here. Then we multiply the result of that by your years of service. So I've got 2% of your final average salary. 2% of $5,275 is $105. I'm now going to multiply that by your years of service. So let's say you have 20 some years of service. I'm going to take that result and I'm going to go find your age at retirement. If you were 50, that age factor that's on that sheet you're looking at that shows all the different age factors, at age 50 it would be 0.66. I'm going to multiply that amount by 0.66 to get to your benefit. And your benefit at age 50 with 20 years of service would be $1,418. Well, what happens if you stay on board and you get some more time under your belt? You put in another 7 years, and instead of retiring with 20 years, you're going to retire with 27 years. 2 things are going to happen. Your service credit's going up, and your age factor is going up. It's not going to be that 0.6681 anymore. Now it's going to be 1. That's a good thing. So even with that same final average salary, more time in and retiring later means your benefit wouldn't be $1,418. It would be $2,861. So this is the effect of time and money, right? I'll show you an example of a benefit for a safety retiree. Here's safety. So for safety, what's the big difference? You can see in step 1, it's not 2%, it's 3%. And you just work the same formula. Your final average salary by 3% times your years of service times your age factor. That age factor goes up every 3 months. And that's how we get to our benefit. So you can see here a safety member retiring at age 45 and 50. 45 is on the left there, that $2,956. Or 50, $5,105. So the basic rule of thumb is to remember it's a factor of time, and money. How much time you have in the system, the age you are at when you retire, and your final average salary. Those are the moving parts to this. So whenever any one of those things grows, it has a positive impact on what your monthly benefit will be when you retire. Okay, so that's complicated. I wanted to get the math part out of the way quick so we could start to talk about what that means. Like, what do you do with that information? So what are the best practices for retirement planning? Timing. Deciding when you're going to retire, and that's thinking about that age factor. Work until 62 years of age, because that's when the retirement factors stop. That's the highest factor you're going to get, is at 62. After that, what will just happen as a general member? Well, what will happen after that is you'll keep adding service credit, but you'll be at your highest factor. Keep an eye on your age factor. So if you retire at 60 versus retiring at 60 plus 3 months, there's a difference because that factor goes up, right? It goes up every quarter. Also, consider retiring before April 1st of a given year in order to get the retiree COLA. So the COLA is a cost of living adjustment. And every year we go through a process of seeing what the COLA will be, and it could be up to 3%. That's a raise to a retiree. It gets applied if you retire before April 1st. To your payroll, your benefit payroll for the year. And then the next year it just incrementally grows as COLAs are approved, if they are, and they can be up to 3%. So if you're real close and you're thinking about retiring, on April 1st or June 1st, and age factor is not an issue, you might want to think about April 1st. Service. Save your sick time. Are you aware that up to 1 year of accrued sick time converts to service credit for retirement? It does. You can use 2,087 hours of sick time to convert to service credit for retirement. Another thing to consider is purchasing any eligible missing work time. It's a buyback. So if at any point in time over the course of your career you lost service credit because you were out for a medical disability, like it doesn't work for family care if you were caring for somebody like a child or somebody in your family who had a back surgery. But if you had a back surgery or you physically were out disabled because you gave birth, that time you're suffering a wage loss. You're not contributing into the system at full clip, nor are you getting a full service credit for each of those pay periods. You can buy what you lost in time back. That increases how much service credit you have. Also, if you were laid off at any point, you can elect to redeposit your contributions if you took a refund when you were laid off, and you can also purchase 1 year's worth of your layoff time if you elect within a year to do so. So another one is extra help. Has anyone here worked extra help before they became a regular employee? That's service credit you could purchase, right? The only thing you can't do is purchase service credit for extra help time that you worked after you became a member. I'm a prime example. I worked for 5 years for the county. I left. I worked extra help, and then I came back as a regular employee. I can't buy the time in the middle there, that extra help. But had I worked extra help before I joined SBCER'S, before I became a regular employee, I could purchase that extra help time. So if you have any extra help time that you think, or any medical leave time, we do calculations all the time for people, and you can have a payment plan through payroll, you can do a lump sum payment, and we can show you what purchasing that time will mean for you for your benefit. Your final average salary. Something to think about. If you know you're about to take a big promotion and you know you're a 1-year FAS, you may want to work through that year and see that, because that will have a positive impact on your final average salary. If you know that your step increase is coming and you want that to be a part of your final average salary, you may want to consider extending your service time. And reciprocity. So we're reciprocal with a lot of other agencies that are covered by CalPERS, like the city, other counties like Ventura, San Luis Obispo. If you had previous service credit with them when you came here, we probably heard about it, but let's just be sure. Let's make sure we established reciprocity, because it comes with all the benefits that you may have heard about as far as salary exchange. If you're reciprocal, whichever salary is the highest at retirement is what's used across all systems. So if you possibly had reciprocity, you came to us from a reciprocal agency with a gap in service that did not exceed 6 months, we should talk. Okay, so this is payment options. This is an important thing for you to think about before you come and sit down and sign your retirement application. Because once you do, and once we pay you in your payment option, it's set in stone. So there are different things you can do as far as how you're paid. You can choose to either take the highest benefit available to you, or you can take a modified payment option. And there's a lot of flexibility here. So the unmodified payment option, it's the most common benefit that is elected. It grants you the highest payment available to you, and in your death, your qualified beneficiary, either your spouse, domestic partner, or eligible child, will get a 60% continuance of that benefit when you pass away. Okay? So that's the unmodified payment option. So if you're looking at estimates at your chair right now and you're seeing these different payment amounts, you'll see what's to the member or to the retiree, and then to the qualified beneficiary. That's what we're talking about here. Highest benefit to you, 60% to your qualified spouse, eligible spouse, or registered domestic partner or minor child. Then underneath that are some really interesting modified payment options that are really customizable to your life. And these are personal decisions for you to make. You can take a modified benefit, such as the 100% continuance. That 100% continuance means you're going to take a reduced monthly amount by a small reduction so that your beneficiary can receive that same amount when you pass away. So these are personal choices that people will make about what they want to do as far as their payment option is concerned. Because of that, I actually put a sheet in those folders that goes into kind of a deep dive about what the payment options are. You might want to just kind of think about that. It's something to consider, and if you have other retirements that you're working to coordinate with, or a spouse who has retirements that you want to kind of dovetail together, you might want to think about what your payment option is. Health insurance, this is a biggie. So, Santa Barbara County Employees Retirement System offers the same group health insurance as employees insurance that you currently have as active employees, but there are 3 rate tiers. There's the COBRA and Extended COBRA, and you are eligible, if you have insurance when you retire, to extend it with COBRA. And the first 18 months of COBRA is the federal period. After that 18 months concludes, if you're living in the state of California, there's another 18 months of CalCOBRA. So you effectively, when you retire, if you have health insurance with your employer, you can get up to 36 months of COBRA, okay? That's another reason a lot of people retire at 62, because you get Medicare at 65, and those rates go down. Early retiree, that's for folks without Medicare. So if you retire at 55, you may get COBRA through 56, 57, 58. But now you're not going to get Medicare till 65. From 58, age 58 to age 65, you would be in that early retiree without Medicare area. And I put rate sheets in everyone's booklet. You've got a COBRA rate sheet, and you've got a early retiree and Medicare rate sheet. And then there's the retiree with Medicare rates. So COBRA, we talked about that. It will last for up to 36 months, depending on if you're living in the state of California or not. If you are not, 18 months of federal COBRA. If you're still in California, a total of 36 months. And then I want to talk a little bit about the retiree share of premium. Are you aware of the subsidy, the offset? For each of your years of service, if you are in the legacy plans, both general and safety, each of your years of service gives you a subsidy towards your insurance premiums through SBCER'S. That subsidy is $15 for each year of service, and it's for each year of service as an offset to your monthly premium. So let's say you worked for the county for 10 years, you would see 10 years times $15, $150 that would be reduced from your premium before you pay it, okay? So it deducts your monthly retirement benefit premium before we take it out of your check. It will bring your cost down. If you choose to not do SBCER'S managed insurance and you don't want to do COBRA, you don't want to do the early retiree or retiree with Medicare, and you go and you get your insurance elsewhere, that's perfectly fine. But there's nothing for us to offset. So instead of getting the subsidy of $15 for each year of service, there's a replacement benefit to that. And that is a health reimbursement arrangement account. It's managed by a company you're probably familiar with, WageWorks. They manage plans for healthcare and dependent care. What's different about this account is the money doesn't ever expire. So you would, instead of getting that $15 to offset your insurance premiums, you get $4 for each year of service. And we would deposit that money in an account with WageWorks. You'll get a debit card, you can swipe it at point of sale, you can set it up to pay online for qualified medical expenditures. And that money doesn't expire, so it kind of rolls from year to year. It's not a use it or lose it benefit. Every year, we have an open enrollment process just as the county does. And SBCER'S meets in this room, and all of our carriers come, and every year is a new year for you to either opt in or opt out of insurance or to change your insurance. Otherwise, we would need a qualifying event to change your insurance. You may leave the county, retire, and go to work somewhere else. And you're getting your retirement benefit. You don't need insurance because you're getting insurance from Home Depot or wherever you've decided to work. And then you lose that job for whatever reason. That becomes a qualifying event. So you could come back into SBCER'S insurance at that time. But otherwise, each year, we have an open enrollment process that begins in October, concludes in November, for effective January 1st. Okay, so again, on declining or canceling health insurance, you can cancel at any time, but to come in, it needs to be a qualifying event, or it needs to be during open enrollment. Okay. It's not a pleasant topic of conversation, but we want to have it now. What happens if I divorce or legally separate? Please bear in mind that since California is a community property state, your SBCER'S retirement benefit that is earned during your marriage is considered community property, and it's subject to division. So if you have legally separated or divorced from a spouse or domestic partner during the course of your career with the county, we need to know, because we can't put you on payroll until we have that issue resolved. They are entitled to a portion of your benefit, or they're entitled to waive it. They could say that they don't want any part of it, but we need to know. So I put in an informational sheet inside everybody's packet. If you find yourself in a situation where you have divorced and the person that you are divorced from, you've not dealt with the issue of your community property, you'll want to look through that sheet and possibly contact us to talk about it. So if you divorce before you retire, what can end up happening if the ex does not have a part of your service credit, what will happen is you can carve out some of your service credit to them, and they have their separate account with us. If you divorce after you retire, you can go through the same process of either having them waive their right to your benefit, or you carve out a portion of your benefit, of your dollars, and they have their separate account, okay? So this is a good trigger for you guys. If you get your member statement, which SBCER'S sends out to all of you in February, in the month of February, if you see a name for your beneficiary on that member statement that's not the person you're married to right now, and it's your ex, please call us, because we're going to want to take care of that, and you're going to need to just address that issue. And let's do it now instead of when you're retiring, because that can become, it just can become tedious. What happens, it says if I die. We all know we will, but being positive. What happens when I die? So there is a death benefit after retirement for your beneficiary. So it's going to be a monthly continuation of your retirement benefit as you've elected in that payment option, be it the 60% continuance, 100% continuance of a modified benefit, whatever you have chosen. There's also, for contributory plans, non-plan twos, there is a one-time death benefit, and that is a lump sum payment of $5,000. You can name anyone as this beneficiary. It doesn't have to be your spouse. And that's something, you know, you would want to put in your beneficiary form to us. You want to do that when you retire. Or there is a refund of remaining contributions and interest, and if there is any at that point, and a one-time lump sum death benefit. Okay? So what do I need to do to be retirement ready? Think about all those different factors that we defined. Do I have any service credit that I need to purchase? Maternity leave, knee surgery, my extra help time before I became a member and started working as a regular employee. Do I have any marital issues that are unresolved? You know, have I married and divorced and remarried? You'd want to contact us to talk about a domestic relations order or a waiver. Have I updated my beneficiary? And again, you'll all know who your beneficiary is in a couple of weeks when you look and get your member statement. So getting these things done now is just very helpful so that when you're ready to retire, we can just get to the fun part, which is this. How do I start the retirement process? Decide on your retirement date. And a lot of you have estimates that you could look at and kind of compare, and it might be giving you some clarity as to what you want to do. Gather up your documents. So I'll need your birth registration, your marriage registration, your social security card, and the real registrations, not the footprint birth certificate from the hospital, but although they're very cute, but the registered with the state birth and marriage, social security card, the same for your spouse. And think about your employee health insurance before your last open enrollment. So in order to COBRA, you've got to have the insurance, right? So be sure that you think about that as you're getting closer. Read your summary plan document. I can't stress this enough. Everything that I've said here today, all of it is in this summary plan document that's on our website. And there's a summary plan document for each one of those retirement plans. So if you go to SBCER'S.org and look at your retirement benefits, click there, scroll down past the awesome information about the COLA, because it's looking really healthy for this year. And you'll see all the summary plan documents. You can go in there and read, take a deep dive on your payment options, on what happens when you divorce, if you pass. All that information is there. Think about your retirement payment options, because it's a big one, and other decisions that you'll need to make, like your beneficiary designation and what your tax withholdings will be. So your benefit, you don't pay FICA, you don't pay SDI, but you do pay federal income tax and state income tax. Okay? And then schedule an appointment to come in and meet with us. And then you talk to your employer. So I want to talk about confidentiality. We don't talk to your department until you've signed. We're not going to answer a phone call from anyone's department saying, "Did she come in and meet with you?" I can't say anything. Until you have signed your retirement application, this is our conversation. And you can sign your retirement application up to 60 days prior to your retirement date, okay? So you have benefit estimates in your folder, most of you do, but now you're probably thinking, oh, there's an age factor I want to kind of think about, and I want to play with this a little bit more. We have a calculator on our website. If you go to SBCER'S.org, in that right or that left-hand column, there is a little link, retirement calculator. You can go in there, and knowing your final average salary that we're estimating based on the benefits, you can start playing with different years of service, with different dates, and really start to kind of do a little investigation there. And if you have questions, we have a group email address, benefits@sbcers.org. I'm the custodian of that email, and I'll get back to you if you have questions on any of the things we're talking about today. And then we also have our 2 offices, Santa Barbara, and in the back of the room, is Barbara here? There's Barbara. Barbara Gordon is one of our reps who works in the Santa Barbara office. She is in charge of the alpha split for A through K. I'm Rebecca Bardakos. I'm the benefits manager, but I also handle L through Z. And if Scott Dunlap was your rep here in Santa Barbara, he's now working out of the Santa Maria office. He's L through Z in Santa Maria. And Jenny Labastida is in the North County office as well. And we're happy to meet with you. We are super excited to help you get to retirement. You've all taken care of this county, and now it's our job to take care of you. So we're excited to do so. So